Hey everyone, and welcome to this complete walkthrough of the Hexagon synthesizer. If you love the gritty, raw sound of the legendary Commodore 64 and its iconic SID chip, you are in for a treat. Built entirely inside the Steam game Retro Gadgets, the Hexagon is an incredibly powerful polyphonic digital synthesizer featuring dual oscillators, a custom ADSR envelope, an advanced pitch modulator with built-in LFOs and arpeggiators, and a fully fledged 16-step sequencer across 8 independent instrument channels. Today, I'm going to show you how to get your hands dirty with this beast, design some killer retro sounds, and program your very first track. Let's dive in. Right after the BIOS boot-up sequence, the Hexagon automatically starts in performance mode. This mode is designed for direct, hands-on playing. You don't need to configure anything to hear some noise. You can literally start jamming right on your keyboard keys. Because the synthesizer supports multi-voice polyphony, you can play full chords, leads, or bass lines instantly. Let's build a sound from scratch. The heart of any synthesizer is its OSC section, the oscillators. On the left side of the panel, we have our waveform selector buttons. The Hexagon features 4 distinct vintage-style waveforms. We start on a smooth, warm triangle wave, which is perfect for soft, subby bass lines. By clicking the selector, we can switch to a biting sawtooth. Then to a classic pulse width modulation, PWM wave, that delivers that signature buzzy C64 texture. And finally to an 8-bit retro noise wave, for those classic sound effects, chiptune drums, or industrial sounds. Next to the waveform selector, you have complete control over the pitch of your main sound. The top left knob adjusts the pitch in full semitone intervals, allowing you to instantly transpose your sound up or down an entire octave. The fine-tuning knob lets you adjust the pitch in tiny increments. This is incredibly useful for creating subtle detuning effects or matching the synthesizer to other instruments. But why settle for one oscillator when you can have 2? By flipping this physical switch, we activate Oscillator 2. OSC2 runs in parallel with OSC1, and it has its own dedicated pitch and fine-tuning knobs. By detuning Oscillator 2 just a tiny fraction against Oscillator 1, we can create incredibly thick, chorused lead sounds that instantly sound massive. Now that we have our oscillator set up, we need to shape how the volume of the sound behaves over time. This is where the ENV, or ADSR envelope section, comes into play. A DSR stands for attack, decay, sustain, and release. It defines how fast a sound starts when you press a key, how it settles, and how long it rings out after you let go. By default, the hexagon starts with a highly responsive, clicky envelope, meaning the sound reaches full volume instantly and stops immediately. If we turn up the attack knob, we tell the synthesizer to slowly fade the sound in when a key is pressed, rather than triggering it instantly. This is perfect for creating sweeping brasses, pad sounds, or cinematic builds. On the other end of the envelope, we have the release knob. If we increase this value, the sound won't cut off abruptly when we release the key. Instead, it will gently fade out in the background, creating a massive sense of space and reverb-like ambiance. If you want to add movement and vibrato to your sounds, the PIT, or pitch modulation section, is your secret weapon. This is essentially a built-in low-frequency oscillator, LFO, dedicated to modulating the pitch. The first knob select the modulation waveform. We have sawtooth up, sawtooth down, a smooth sine wave, and a built-in arpeggiator. The second knob, frequency, controls how fast the modulation wobbles. The third knob, amplitude, controls how drastic and intense the pitch sweep is. Let's make a classic retro sound effect. We'll switch our oscillator back to the noise wave and crank up both the frequency and the amplitude of our pitch modulator using a sine wave shape. Suddenly, a boring static noise is transformed into a crazy, sci-fi computer sound straight out of an 80s arcade machine. But things get truly legendary when we turn the modulation waveform knob all the way to the right. This activates the hexagon's built-in arpeggiator. Instead of a continuous wave, the LFO now steps through musical intervals. By turning the amplitude knob, you can choose between different arpeggio modes, or even a completely randomized pitch generator. Let's switch back to the nostalgic PWM wave. Select a minor chord arpeggiation and crank up the frequency. Just hold down a single note, and the hexagon will automatically spin it into a fast-paced, hypnotic chiptune melody. To play all of this, the hexagon features a gorgeous 13-note keyboard layout. Right above the keys, you'll find the octave up and down buttons. The custom LED strip displays exactly which of the 4 octaves you're currently playing in, ranging from deep rumbling sub-basses to piercing high-pitched leads. Now, let's unlock the true production powerhouse of the hexagon, sequencer mode. By pressing the select button on the LCD, we switch the entire layout. The 16 step buttons at the bottom of the synthesizer now represent a 16-step grid. The hexagon allows you to program up to 64 patterns of 16 steps each, organized into 8 easy-to-manage sections of 8 patterns. This gives you more than enough space to write a fully fledged electronic track. Even better, the sequencer is multi-timbral. You have 8 independent instrument channels available on the lower left. Each channel can have completely different oscillator settings, envelope shapes, and pitch modulations. You can program a heavy, steady kick on channel 1, a driving bass line on channel 2, and a screaming, arpeggiated lead on channel 3. When you switch between channels, all the physical knobs on the synthesizer automatically update to reflect that channel's parameters instantly. The LED strips above the sequencer buttons light up to show you exactly how long your arrangement is. To program a melody, simply toggle the Edit Mode button. Notice how the navigation buttons and the current step instantly light up in this beautiful turquoise color. While in Edit Mode, you can use the navigation arrows to step through the 16-step grid. The keyboard will light up to show you exactly which note is programmed on that specific step. You can easily change the note by pressing a key on the keyboard, or adjust its octave using the octave keys. This makes programming complex, precise melodies incredibly fast and intuitive. Let's see what is possible when you combine all these elements across multiple channels. I'm going to load up a classic retro track I programmed earlier. Now, for the developers and retro enthusiasts out there, if we open up the script using the in-game multi-tool, you can see how cleanly structured the code is. I've broken it down into organized sections, from hardware initialization and variable definitions to the core math behind the ADSR envelope, LFO pitch calculations, and the main update loop. Because we just optimized the entire timing engine and code structure for version 1.4.5, the CPU load is lower than ever, and the timing is absolutely locked to the grid. If you guys are interested in how to write clean Lua scripts for synthesizers, how to handle timing buffers, or how to program custom ADSR envelopes in retro gadgets, let me know in the comments. I'd love to do a deep dive coding tutorial in the next video. That's it for the ultimate guide to the HEXAGON synth. You can download it right now on the Steam Workshop. The link is down in the description below. If you enjoyed this walkthrough, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more retro music tech content, and drop a rating on the Steam Workshop page to help support the project. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Happy producing!